Welcome to episode 223 of the 2 Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at whether or not Derrick Henry deserves MVP in the NFL this season. Derrick Henry, I feel like it's fairly agreed by most NFL fans, is the best running back in the league. And even if you're a super critic, there's no way he's not your number 2, top 3, or number 3, top 3 running back in the league. To me, it's outrageous to not have him at number 1. Considering, yes, you got Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, who might be your 2 and 3, but those guys are hurt. There's just no way Derrick Henry isn't at the top of my list and many others, in my opinion. Nick Chubb, and there's lots of other talent around the league. Dalvin Cook, very solid number 2. I could see him fighting for number 1, but right now, Derrick Henry is having the best season out of any running back right now. And I'm looking at whether or not his season is enough to give him MVP. If we look at MVP just as a whole, the last time a quarterback did not win MVP was by running back Adrian Peterson in, I believe, 2012. However, Adrian Peterson did a miraculous thing and broke 2,000 rushing yards. That's only been done a handful of times by running backs. If we look at Derrick Henry's record or rushing yards right now, he's at 1,679 rushing yards. If you do the math, he's about 321 yards short of breaking 2,000 rushing yards, and he'd have to get that in only 2 games. That's about 160.5 yards in a game in these last 2 games to break 2,000. Can he do it? Yes. We've seen Derrick go off for 210 yards, 174 yards, 115, 140, 180. The man has done it before, but going into these games, his mind isn't set on the numbers. He's not Russell Westbrook, just stat padding. Derrick Henry's just trying to produce a win for his team. He's worried about getting in the end zone. He's actually has 15 touchdowns this year. That's averaging over a touchdown a game, 5.2 yards per carry. The dude's a monster. But back to the yards. Like I said, he's worried about winning the game and running as hard as he can, not stacking up the numbers and breaking 2,000 yards. Yeah, is it in the back of his mind, it's somewhat attainable. I do want to hit 2,000. Of course it is. It's inhuman to not want to hit 2,000 yards and do everything you can. However, I know his number 1 priority is definitely just get a win and seal his team into the playoffs. If you look at the other MVP candidates that are very well ahead of Derrick Henry, in my opinion, and we got Patrick Mahomes, who's going to more than likely hit 5,000 passing yards this year. Aaron Rodgers, he's at 40 touchdowns. I doubt he throws for 5 touchdowns each in these last 2 games and hits 50. However, it is possible. He's in the MVP running also. I think Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers are neck and neck. That's going to be close to see who wins if it goes down to those two. Then your third place MVP, in my opinion, and your dark horse MVP is Josh Allen. Then you got Derrick Henry kind of floating out on the sides, making a case as he goes. And my big question is, does he deserve it? Now, I've broken this down several times in every MVP video. I'm going to make it quick because of that. You take away Mahomes from the Chiefs, they go from a Super Bowl team to a playoff team. Either way, average quarterback can still take the Chiefs to the playoffs with that type of roster. You take away Josh Allen from the Bills, and you go from a 13-3 playoff team to a more likely than not a 6-10, 7-9, 8-8 average team, below average team. You take away Aaron Rodgers from the Packers, and then you go from a number 1 NFC team to more than likely a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Aaron Rodgers is carrying the Packers. You put in any average quarterback at the Packers, and you're going to get absolutely nothing but a top 5 draft pick. Then Tennessee Titans, you take away Derrick Henry and you put in your average running back. I'm thinking you got a similar Bills situation. You got a 7-9, 6-10, 8-8 team. Yes, Ryan Tannehill is performing phenomenal and is actually very underrated how well he is doing. And I like Ryan Tannehill and their coach. They have a great chemistry together, or a great system that works for each other. And I do think he could produce some wins, but you take away the best running back in the league and throw him in by an average guy, the Titans are definitely going to more than likely fall to the playoffs into a 7-9, 6-10, 8-8 average team. So clearly, just looking at that, based off of that perspective, Mahomes is, you have to say, least valuable to their team. Yes, Mahomes might be the best quarterback and best player out of all 4 of those. However, value-wise, just because of that stacked roster, he might be least valuable. I know that sounds kind of crazy and weird, but if you just understand what I was trying to break down, an average quarterback can still take the Chiefs to a playoff team. Any other of those quarterbacks positions, you put in an average guy, they're not going to be a playoff team, and then an average running back for the Titans. So Derrick Henry is very much valuable to his Tennessee Titans. However, the running back the MVP case going to a running back and just any position outside of quarterback is so rare. A running back has to go above and beyond anything possible in the league. Derrick Henry is on such limited time. It's going to be very hard for him. However, I do 100% think it is possible because the Tennessee Titans play Aaron Rodgers this weekend. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers is either number 1 or number 2 in the MVP race. If Derrick Henry goes in Aaron Rodgers' house to Green Bay and puts up 150 yards, 200 yards, and leads his team to a dominant win while Aaron Rodgers is on the other side of the football and does nothing, he has a bad game, throws only 200 yards, 1 touchdown, a pick, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, just a flat game, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. If Aaron Rodgers has a bad game and Derrick Henry has a phenomenal game, that is the jump Derrick Henry needs and is likely, I don't want to say likely to get, but has a very legitimate chance of getting and putting him in a tight MVP case. I seriously think when you go head-to-head with your opposing MVP and you make him look bad, it kind of changes the tide and definitely makes it seem like you deserve the MVP award. I mean, you're telling me if we didn't see Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes face off each other, we wouldn't be able to have a better picture of who deserves MVP since they're so close this year. I feel like a game of them playing each other would be the final tiebreaker. Derrick Henry, this might not be his tiebreaker to earn MVP, but it could be the catapult that launches him into an actual talk of, does this guy deserve it? Should he go above Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes? Like I said, it's not the tiebreaker to get them above Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. It's the catapult to launch them to the same par as Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Now, even if he goes off for 200 yards and Aaron Rodgers has a shit game, that does not mean Derrick Henry will win MVP because you still got even wild card Josh Allen who could catapult himself to that same level. Or we could see the exact opposite where Derrick Henry is shut down, has 68 yards, and Aaron Rodgers has 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. So anything is possible. Derrick Henry could just stay, even if he has a bad game, Derrick Henry really can't go down. Everyone still sees him as the best back in the league. He could really go up in the MVP rankings from this matchup, in my opinion, but I do think he does have the advantage to catapult up. Aaron Rodgers, he could really go only down. Yeah, I guess he could go up, like I just said, if he has 4 touchdowns and 400 yards, but even if he does have that phenomenal game, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be neck and neck with him. What is my overall consensus, what I think will happen? I truthfully think Derrick Henry will have a great game. I think he'll have his typical 100-yard game. I'm going to shoot for 115, probably have a touchdown. He's averaging a touchdown a game. I don't see the Packers shutting down the run. I think Derrick Henry will have I don't say monster game, but a very Derrick Henry game. 110 yards is amazing, or very, a great accomplishment for any other running back. For Derrick Henry, it's typical. I think he'll have his normal type of game, normal beast game, 110 yards, a touchdown. However, I think Aaron Rodgers will do not beast mode and not awful. I think he'll just do an Aaron Rodgers performance, throw for 300 yards, throw for 2 touchdowns, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just have a normal game that keeps him at his same level, and Derrick Henry will be at his same level at the end of this game. This isn't really like a preview of who I think will win. It being in Green Bay, I might have to roll with that just because I like Aaron Rodgers at his house, but that's not what this video is about by any means, because there's another game after that the Derrick Henry has to play, and Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. There's still week 17, week 16 is just really where I think the MVP race can get a lot more closer, or a lot further, in hopes of a 3rd place or 4th place MVP, such as Josh Allen and Derrick Henry getting their hopes up and getting to the same par as Mahomes and Rodgers. I'd love to see Derrick Henry make the lead, because I'd love to see any position but quarterback to win MVP, just because that truly is valuable. Like, he had to go above and beyond every single position. He had to go above and beyond the most important position in the league. So I'd love to see Derrick Henry go off, get 200 yards, and Aaron Rodgers just have an okay game of 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Just a low game for Aaron Rodgers, and a big game that Derrick Henry could lead his team to a win and make that catapult lead to be on par and be in the serious discussion of whether or not he deserves MVP votes. I'd love to see it. Do I think it'll happen? I truthfully don't, but I do think Derrick Henry will have a solid game. But do I think he'll have this amazing game to send him there? I hope, but I don't think it'll occur. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If this take is crazy, if it makes sense, let me know what you guys think. Any other videos you want to see, 2 in the morning.